Greetings, flesh creatures. It is I, Megatron. On behalf of TFYLP, I want to congratulate you for listening to the most refined collective podcast on this miserable little planet Earth. Yes. Here you'll find knowledgeable fans discussing every aspect of Transformers and beyond. Now, enjoy the show while I continue my path to complete conquest of all of you miserable biological entities. Predacons, terrorize!
Gonna not do whatever we were just talking about.
Hi, welcome to TFYLP, episode 412. We are live on January 4th. I am joined tonight by Paul.
Happy New Year.
And Anna.
Greetings.
And Destron.
Forever Destron.
There you go. So tonight we'll be talking about Pops, right, Paul? Your pop collection?
We'll talk about whatever you want.
So unfortunately we took a week off and the book club stole our thunder and probably did a better job of breaking down Transformers Earthrise than what we'll probably do on the actual show.
That's all right. Now we're known as Book Club, the Thunder Thieves, because we steal thunder.
Yes. I'm just going to talk to Anna, and then whatever topic you guys cover in book club, I'll just, cover the same thing on the regular show. So there you go.
We're going to have to cover the My Little Pony crossover just so I can make you eat your words.
Who's eating words?
If you need a hunger for your words, we'll see.
Now it just means if you want to be on the bleeding edge of TF Talk content, you have to be, on the Discord, in the book club. Like, we're just the vanilla show. We're the most accessible. We're the easy stuff to listen to. So, this makes it more special.
That's true.
Oh, wow. What's this, like the OG My Little Pony here? Are there Transformers in that, Peter?
No. However, Neil Ross was supposed to be in the My Little Pony movie as Shipwreck while the ponies were flying around to get help to fight back against the Smooths, but that got cut. Yeah, they were going to go ask Shipwreck for help.
I got you. Yeah, I didn't know if My Little Pony had a crossover, whatever in the 80s or something, and you're like, oh, this is the original one that, anyway.
I've got everything on DVD.
So,
everything.
Wait, everything, or?
Everything.
Yeah. Gotcha. So, there you go. You have your own infinity closet devoted just to DVDs?
Yeah, kind of. I collect stuff. I don't know if you guys know this. I'm a collector of things.
You're a historian.
Come on.
You probably have a bigger DVD selection than what Walmart and Target do now. Anyway, doesn't matter. On to the shows. So there was a Transformers show, I guess, that dropped on Netflix a few days ago. Certain members of the cast stayed up all night watching it so that they could not be spoiled and watch it as soon as it came out. So, how was that experience?
Murky.
Very murky.
Life would have been spent better sleeping.
I mean, it was fun. I will tell you that. But as far as details of the show, I'm gonna remember a lot during this episode of TFYLP, I believe.
You're not supposed to watch it while you're drinking.
I don't know if that's the case.
Is there any other wise way to watch this quality of entertainment?
I'm a sober individual. I'm a teetotaler, transforming type, and it was rough.
I also don't drink at all, but I still think it might have been a good idea.
I don't know. How did you guys manage to make it through to the end, that night? I fell asleep watching the show, and I was watching it, relatively normal hours, so...
I watched it with my kid.
Serious. I mean, there were a lot of people all watching it, all commenting, making silly comments, serious comments, complaints, compliments is the other word. There's all those things going on. So I was like wide awake the whole time, even though I woke up at a normal time that morning and should have been tired. It's fun.
What were you going to say, Peter?
I watched it with my kids, so we made it a point to press on and drive through and discuss it as it was happening, and then do like quick little episode recaps. He's 12, so like he's seen all of Gen 1. He's seen all of pretty much everything. He's seen all the Japanese series. He's seen everything. So he was like, no, why did they... And we'll get to these things. So, yeah. So I watched it with him, and it was a good time watching it with him, but we both agreed on our final verdict, which I guess we'll get to.
I had a great time watching it with a bunch of other Transformers fans that, you know, were also pretty passionate. There was a lot of like WTFs like together, like everyone's kind of like hemming and hawing about the same stuff, but there were some cool moments. And I don't know, I took a nap beforehand that day, so I got like a few extra winks knowing I was going to be up till like 4, and I made it.
Yeah, it was totally 4. Totally 4.
Was it later than that? I don't.
I mean, we finished the show at like 5:30, but we didn't finish talking till like 7.
The sun was up.
The sun was way up.
Was up. But yeah, it was a show.
It was a show.
So we've all seen it, right? Lucas, you saw it too. You powered.
Yeah. So have we all seen it once, or did you go back and rewatch it? I've only seen it once.
I did not. I considered it for roughly 3 seconds, then I didn't consider it anymore.
You thought about it for that long?
I did. I have a bit of a 3-second thinking time on any decision. Count to 3. Done.
I meant to watch it again, like fully coherent and during a regular time period, but it never happened.
Yeah, I was thinking about having it in the background while I was cleaning my room this weekend, but I never cleaned my room, so it didn't happen. Still a disaster. But I guess I'll start the actual conversation on the show by asking one important question. Are we doing any part of this show spoiler-free, or are we just diving right in spoilerific, spoiler-tastic, spoiler-land?
Well, okay, so first off, as I had discussed with you and Christian before, you could just skip, the first 5 episodes, and ultimately, I think you could pick it up with episode 6 and, not be totally lost. There's a couple points that you'd be like, oh, what are they talking about there? But...
Well, I think what you just said merits a spoiler warning. So from here on out, we need to say, in fairness to everyone
I guess
listening,
spoilers.
Spoilers.
That's fine.
I felt like I was being
not
generic
a spoiler-free
enough.
Episode, this is a spoiler-tastic, spoilerific adventure.
Although technically, a lot of Transformers is like that in general, where by the end it really doesn't what happens doesn't always necessarily impact, or one movie doesn't necessarily impact what's happening in the next movie and things like that. So
if you're about to run away because of spoilers, I would say, it's probably worth watching, just for fun. I'd watch it with a group. I'd watch it with friends. And I would be prepared to, not take it super seriously.
Yeah.
On that note, though, not taking it super seriously, this is the only G1 show we have in the last few years, aside from the last round of six episode whatever's. Prime Wars notwithstanding, because that's not a show. That was a series of scenes that did nothing and didn't even want me to buy toys. Didn't even convince me to buy toys. It just it just existed.
It just was there.
Yeah. I'm saying lines now. Anyway,
I actually thought that the show did a decent job of trying to get me to want the toys. I thought that some of the newer ones...
What toys? Were they Earthrise toys? Was it Trailbreaker and Sunstreaker and Snapdragon and Alleycon?
Oh, not the stuff that's currently out. Well, maybe
The
Double Dealer.
refractors.
Maybe.
It was Scrapface, wasn't
Scrap,
It was
Scrap
just Scrap
Face.
Face.
I mean, I think the what was it, Scorponok? I mean, I think it, was in the show.
Yeah,
Spoilers
he's really
again.
easy to get right now.
Yeah.
So,
I thought the toy placement, in the show was actually pretty egregious this time, like compared to the last one. Like the Scorponok made no sense. I mean, Scorponok made no sense to even be around, really. Like it didn't pay off anything.
There was nothing to it. It didn't make me want that character. I mean, I know I love Scorponok because I've loved Scorponok since '87, but as a kid who doesn't know anything about Transformers, if there's a big monster man running around, like, okay, if we were watching the show, Scorponok shows up, and we watched the episode where he's running around and smashing things and whatever, and my kid turned around and was like, oh yeah, look, Scorponok, the big brainless monster, right? That shouldn't be like the message conveyed with who Scorponok has been in every other continuity in which he's ever appeared. He's not a big brainless monster. He's not a big dumb infidels or whatever he's saying, contamination. It was bad. Scorponok's inclusion was bad. Like Paul said, it was egregious. It was, that was driven to sell a toy. But for accessible toys, not to say that they're all available in stores now anyway, because everything's gone everywhere. But there were very few Earthrise toys aside from the three biggest ones. That's a $30 figure that you never saw in stores. So we saw.
It is a relatively current wave.
So Double Dealer got a spotlight, Scorponok got a spotlight, and Skylynx got a spotlight. So the three most expensive toys in the line got at least some like serious focus time. The Quintesson, whose whole gimmick is I've got 5 faces, cuts off 4 of the 5 faces within 10 seconds of showing up on screen, and then disappears for the rest of the series. Yeah. Right? So okay. How many of you have seen a Quintesson in store shelves? Very, very few of us. It's all been
only once.
I've never seen one at retail. So there's a toy I can't get that I don't care about because it cuts its own faces off and just self-neutralizes in the first 5 seconds that it's there. Okay, cool. There's Scorponok, the big brainless monster that I've seen once at retail. I can afford it, but a normal kid's not going to be able to afford it. Oh, Skylynx. That's cool. Oh, he's a traitor shunted off into a pocket dimension. Oh, and he's dead. Cool. Great. Double Dealer. Double Dealer got a nice shake. Good for you, Double Dealer. I'm going to buy your toy. And I can find you reasonably. Mission success, Sunstreaker, Trailbreaker,
but it's $50 or whatever, too.
Right. He's $50.
So that's the other thing.
No Alicon.
No Alicons. Okay, so the Quintesson.
No Alicon.
The Quintessons are known. They're renowned for their like big armies of Sharkticons and Alicons, right? When they finally reveal, I've got this army, it's a bunch of gray Ironhides. Gray Ironhides. Okay, so cool. Gray Ironhides. So the Quintessons are armed with gray Ironhides as their shock troopers. Great. Where's my gray Ironhide figure? Hasbro. Where are my cog figures in multiple colors? Where's my rainbow? Okay, we did get a rainbow reflector.
There is spray paint.
There's a whole thing. There is spray paint, but I shouldn't have to, as a kid watching a Netflix program, have to go say, hey, Mom, I'd like the Ironhide figure that hasn't been seen in stores for a year and a half and a can of spray paint, please.
Yeah, children can't buy spray paint, so it's a bad strategy.
There is a Netflix Quintesson figure coming, and it's a
deluxe. In a year. Well, no one's going to care about it.
It should be it still will be late, yes. It should be out now. But it's coming in Wave 3. So is it an Alicon that wasn't in the show? Or is it the only other Quintesson character that was in the show? We don't know.
We don't know.
We
may
don't
find
know.
out.
Yeah, I do feel like it's a lost opportunity in general not to release repaints of all these background characters in Siege and Earthrise. Like, I feel like if there was a 3-pack of cogs, like in different colors, I would totally buy it. Or like some of the other ones that they did, I think some of us crazy people would get it, and I think some of the other people, like your kid or whatever, might be interested as well. Especially those characters that are at that deluxe price point, instead of like we're mentioning, these main characters that are $50 price points. I do think that that's one thing in general with the show that they could have done better. That all these mini cons, and whatnot, like all these small characters that are not like in the show.
We're 2 series in, and not a single Micromaster has appeared.
Mm-hmm.
For Micromasters, yeah, thank you.
Or Target Master, no.
Or Target, any of the combat bots, anything. And to answer Catherine in the chat, yes, there were things I liked about it. I like that there is Generation 1-ish Transformers presence on Netflix that people are watching. It's a success. It's gonna get a third part to the thing, and it's gonna make more cartoons, and hopefully they continue to improve. Because that's all I want with my Transformers stuff, is that it doesn't regress. I want it to be nice and fun and get better all the time. Because I want
There's lots of room for improvement here, so it's good. I was going to say, though, there are 2 major characters that just recently became somewhat semi-available sometimes. One being the bee that bumbles. If you can find him at a Walmart, he is recently available. He's a relatively new release. And Alita, who's also a super major character. These 2 were major characters in the first series as well, did not get toys at the time for that, but, 6 months later, now they do have toys, and they're still important characters. They maybe probably live, I guess. They at least did things.
Alita showed up, did things, had speaking lines, looked like she does in the cartoon, has been in 2 series now, and I can find her at any Walmart I go to. Seriously, right now, I can. I'm not in one of those drought areas. She's everywhere.
This is the best depiction we've ever had of that character, too. Like, it's the most interesting Alita one we've gotten. Like, I think it's a really cool feature for her. Because she's always been a cool design. She's always been a character I wanted to know more about. And now she has a series, which is cool. So that's a positive from a toy direction, right? Because there's an Alita toy on the shelves. There's a series to make you like her. That's cool.
So you can get Alita, Wheeljack, and Red Alert pretty readily right now. Bumblebee's harder to find. Soundwave wasn't in the series as much as I thought he was going to be. Ravage got more screen time than Soundwave did, which was really bizarre. I mean, if they want to push the Ravage toy comes with the newer Soundwave, so I guess that's something they're going for. Whatever. But yeah, so Alita, way to turn me into a positive spin on this. You got me. Finding Alita is nice. If kids want Alita, if kids want a Wheeljack, if kids want an Impactor, if kids want a Red Alert, those are all pretty readily available right now. But good luck on Scorponok and Skylynx and the Quintesson and half the other cast, because they're all Siege toys.
Skylynx isn't too tough. I mean, he's around. I've seen him at Targets, like post-Christmas still.
I haven't seen any of them post-Christmas. They were just shelf warming before Christmas, but now since the reset, everything's disappeared. Sidebar, I did find the Thrust in the wild today. And why weren't the Coneheads? Why wasn't Thrust in the Mercenary Brigade? And not that he belongs there, but if Dirge and Ramjet are going to be there, why aren't they in the proper models? Based on the toy available in the stores, why don't we have the Seekers? With Coneheads in the War for Cybertron toy.
That's a question I hadn't thought of. The Bugbite that shows up, is he on model? Is he Cliffjumper or is he Bumblebee?
He looked Bumblebee to me.
I think he's Bumblebee.
He was, it's just a white Bumblebee. And Exhaust had the wrong head. Way to sell your toys, Hasbro.
So they don't match the toys.
Well, and they had made a big deal about
frustrated fans who never got the toys correctly to ask for them to select a million years later. I went by cartoon accurate.
Well, what's funny is they made such a big deal before these cartoons came out of how accurate they are, and they scanned the toys in and all that, and then yet, you have inaccuracies. But I don't know. I mean, I kind of understand it just because when they're doing the 3D modeling, they could only have so many, every new model costs more money and things like that. But I don't know. Like, I feel like that there was just some missed opportunities overall. Like, that's my kind of review of the show. I think, like, when you had hit on the Quintesson, before the fact that, like, at the very beginning when it came in and they're, like, all debating and whatnot, like, I thought that was really interesting and I would have liked to have seen more of that. But then she cuts all the other faces off and I'm like, oh, well, that sucks. Like,
and there was only one Quintesson?
Only one. Yeah.
There's only one, yeah.
One Quintesson, no Sharkticons, no Alicons. The Sharkticons I can forgive because it's not a toy that's available right now. We'll see you later in 86 or whatever. But no Alicons? They could have, just done the one and made a million billions copies as far as the animation model is concerned. I don't know. It was a missed opportunity.
I don't know. I mean,
sorry. Talking about the toys first is a good idea because the toys are a big part of this, especially because the character models made one big concession from the very beginning, was that they were still going to have the nubs, the connection point nubs for the blast effects on the character models in the show. So since you've already sacrificed that bit of style and prettiness in the character models, you really do need to be consistent and deliver with the toys. Because I think that's a huge sacrifice just for, characters like Megatron just to have these weird nipples that do nothing just sticking out on the middle of their chest. It just looks weird. And without the toys to deliver that, it's a bizarre thing. I don't think Bumblebee has any, though, because he's not the toy. But...
I mean, is this worse or better than, previous cartoons?
This is better than the Prime Wars trilogy, hands down, far and away, no question.
I mean specifically for toy line versus on-screen congruence, if that's a thing. I don't know.
This is probably better than most because the toys actually look like the character models.
Someone said in the chat that animation models are a tradition for the series as a whole, and that is for the Transformers series, yes. Animation models, we've just been living with it forever, and then this is no different.
I had a discussion with some friends today, just how I always thought, oh man, if they looked exactly like the toy, that would be so good. But kind of what I meant back then was if the animation model was the toy, if the toy could look like what's on screen, not what's on screen be forced to look like the toy. But we had that back. Then it happened in the universe, or the Galaxy Force and Superlink, Energon, Cybertron, and I remember being no, go back! Whatever the press the button, go back. I wish they were able to do that. And this is kind of the same situation, but it's it's a little more modern, a little more improved. It's better than back then, I would say, even though they got wavy waists and stuff. But I think I prefer the simplified interpretation of the toy on screen than it being exact to the T, personally.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like the look of the show, I enjoyed that. I think that's one of the highlights of the show to me. I really like just the look and the way that they did the shading and certain things like that. It's a very pretty looking cartoon, I feel like, especially if you put it up on a 4K TV and all that type of thing.
It does not look bad.
The
character models are a little limited by being the toys, but honestly, the series overall looks good. It looks pretty good.
I think the only thing that there's certain things that take you out of the show because you can tell from their budget. One, characters barely ever transform. That's been, in both of the shows. And then two, some of those space battles, the Skylinks and whatnot when he was coming through and it just almost looked like he was on a wire kind of thing. Just dangling there. That was not good. I mean, I'm willing to... I don't know. I understand, and I know that they probably had to do this, didn't have a huge budget for this, but...
It was a bummer that aforementioned big characters that recently got toys, Bumblebee and Alita, still didn't transform. For a Transformers show, it is frustrating that two of the biggest characters in the story still can't transform because their character models were made before the toys.
I just remembered another egregious entrance into the show was the Nemesis Prime.
Oh man,
that was not even there. It was a premonition or some shit. Oh my god, I was so pissed after it was in the trailer and everything.
So far, the spoiler figures have kind of a they have a track record of almost being April Fool's jokes.
Yeah,
it's just spoiler. Oh, just kidding.
I was excited for that. I was like, oh my gosh, they're actually going to do him and he's going to be in the show? They're going to fight? How are they going to fit that in before they get to Earth? Well, they didn't have to because they
didn't do anything before. And they went to Earth. The whole series was, we went to Earth. Sort of.
Remember the whole story about Runamuck being infiltrating the Autobot Ark on the way to Earth? That didn't happen either.
Too bad. I was hoping they would show up because I really like those toys a lot.
Oh well. Lots
I
to
don't know.
complain about, but there's also stuff to praise. So
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the character models did look nice. There were things. I actually ran out of positives. I'm sorry. There were things.
I will say this. I watched it with a 12-year-old who did not enjoy it.
Bummer.
My 6-year-old enjoyed it okay when he was watching it. He actually like watched it, so. But I think when I was watching with him, it was like the later episodes. It was like 5 and 6, so I think he probably would have like went upstairs had it been like the earlier ones where they were a little bit slower.
Well, I mean, case in point, the first episode was nothing but a recap of the previous series. It was just Megatron talking really slowly about salvation and whatever, and Alita 1 explaining the plot of the last 6 episodes to us. And it's just like, Optimus Prime went to space. It's like, whoa, dude. Come on,
But he
come
said
on.
it to his severed head. What could be
And
cooler
which-
than that?
Said it faster to a severed head.
I've heard some people say that it's better if you speed it up, like he can do it at like 1.25.
1.25. Yep.
And I wish I would have tried that.
I listen to my own lectures at that speed if I have to check things. So I totally can see how that would help.
I might try that when I watch it a second time. I'll let you know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel like that I'm like judging it a little more harshly just because I feel like that the bones are there. Like the show overall, I think could have been good. It's just that like I actually didn't think the voice acting was that bad this time, except for one exception.
It wasn't.
For me, Optimus Prime was hot garbage, and I hate to say that, but like Batman Prime
Because
or whatever.
apparently
it's
the
just-
voice actor is a pretty good voice actor. Like, from what I hear. Like, people like him in other things.
Well,
It's
I heard
just
him in this, and I didn't like him.
that interpretation. I don't know. Like
delivery is not great.
I know, Anna, you're bringing up because you're saying that Megatron was a little bit different and Optimus and whatnot. Like I actually
ended
didn't
up liking
mind
Megatron's
Megatron.
voice, though.
Yeah.
Like, I really felt like, and no one has agreed with me, and I've said that like 6 times now, but I really feel like the Megatron voice actor was trying to deliver something similar to the way that Unicron was delivered in the '86 movie, the kind of Orson Welles slow, epic voice. And yes, it's very slow, but I ended up liking it by the end because I felt like it was kind of an homage. I thought it was kind of cool because he was kind of like an epic, creepy at the corner guy. I enjoyed it.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I like the voice of Megatron. I did not like the delivery. Just the pacing was killing me. Optimus Prime. My wife asked, "Why are you guys watching Gilbert Gottfried on Transformers?" Because she, I mean, and then she's, it was hyperbolic, but everyone sounds like this. It's so tense and and grar and
It's
stop.
gritty, Peter.
Why does Shockwave have to be gritty? Tell me about gritty old Shockwave. Or Gritty B or whoever. Gritty 1.
But B stopped being gritty. Bean took off his grits and became more traditional Bumblebee.
A little bit.
Was
He
this-
did. He was like nice and optimistic, and he was like, "I believe in you, Optimus! Yay!"
Maybe they hired all the voice actors from Philly, and that's why they're so gritty.
Aha. Gritty's okay. Gritty is
Very
watch
cool.
a show for that, yeah.
I
Show
will
for-
agree with Catherine's point where she said that this is some of the best character development for Megatron. And I did really like his whole arc. Like, I like the fact that it was like there was gray with it and that, he was, somewhat tortured by some of his choices. And he wasn't just I am the evil leader. He's, actually considering, what's going on and whatnot. So, like, I did enjoy that. I thought that was probably one of the better parts of the show. But
So you're saying when I'm working somewhere and the boss walks around and asks me what's going on, and then I tell him everything, and by the end of the day, like everyone's fired, I'm just supposed to be like, well, at least he had good character development. That's That's the bright side of that.
Well,
Doesn't matter.
I mean,
got axed or
that-
chopped up and murdered.
that's an important point or whatever that you have to learn. When the boss like comes around and asks or whatever, you don't show him all the issues. You're like, oh no, everything's great. Like we're
You don't tell
doing
him
fantastic
22%
here.
capacity
Like,
as a good
oh
thing.
yeah, we're just working through a couple kinks here. You know, like no big deal. Don't look behind that curtain.
So it's the employee's fault, is what you're saying.
Yes,
He is
absolutely.
saying that.
Yeah,
okay.
that mid-level manager there of that plant in Sector 12 did a horrible job.
In real life, I'm the guy that my boss goes to when he wants to know what the hell is going on in the office. Because I'm not going to pull a punch and I'm not going to lie. This is a bunch of crap over here. And there's a bunch of crap over here. I got records. And this is why it's crappy.
So there you go, Peter. You're the leader of Sector 12, huh?
Your shockwave.
I just got us all smoked.
For the greater good.
We got Steeljaw over here, though. That's cool.
Somewhere. We'll name drop people, yeah.
So,
That was kind of cool. Like that was what a highlight of the first episode was the Steeljaw cameo as a brick. That was sort of neat.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was sad and good at the same time. Someone earlier, and I can't remember where it was, it might have been in the chat or something, mentioned that could have been them sticking it to us and telling us, you're not going to get a blaster. Sorry. We're killing his child. You're not getting a blaster.
I saw someone do a custom, maybe it was a Digibash, of this toy as Blaster, and it looked awesome.
I think it'd be fine.
I almost thought it was real.
Like, if they could
I think it'd
retool
be
the
fine.
spaceship into a cassette player, I'm pretty sure they could retool the cassette player into a boombox.
Yeah, like you wouldn't have to do much to the legs.
That's a tall order.
I still think it's coming. You know, a guy can dream that he's going to get a blaster one day.
But just back to the voice acting, since we were kind of on that topic, like, I think a lot of the characters were fine. Like, you know, Alita was fine. She was fine in the first series. She was honestly good. Bumblebee was fine. He was honestly good, too. I feel like Double Dealer he was forgettable, but I didn't see anything wrong with him. The Quintesson was fine, actually. Like, I thought they were fun to listen to, and she was fun to listen to after killing all the other ones.
I'm just mad at the Quintesson in general. I'm mad at the whole handling of the Quintesson situation. But most, to your point, and I agree, most of the voice acting was fine, if not good. There were... Starscream was great. Wheeljack was great. Elita, Bumble, they were great. I'm still annoyed at Ironhide because he's just like, hi, I'm Ironhide, and I'm just a happy little dude. And no, you're not Ironhide, happy little dude. So I think it's just bad casting, but they're not going to change it midway. But Prime was bad. Megatron was rough. Shockwave was bad, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And Soundwave had 2 lines. And you can tell that it's all vocoder. There's none of that Dr. Claw stuff underneath there. So it's all like it doesn't sound right. You know, so I don't know.
What about Galvatron?
What about Galvatron?
I don't. All I remember seeing him again. It was like a fever dream. So I know he was there, and you talked to Megatron a lot.
It was a fever dream.
I'm literally just asking, was his voice any good? I don't remember.
No.
His voice was the same guy who did the voice of Megatron, and he did a great job. I don't know. I thought that was... It didn't sound like Galvatron in my head, but it's a new take, and that's fine.
I didn't like the Galva voice, but...
No?
It was fine.
He wasn't Manic, and he wasn't Nimoy. You know, he wasn't he wasn't Welker's Manic Galvatron, and he wasn't Nimoy's like menacing Galvatron. I don't know. He was fine to me.
I remember him seeming kind of scary, or at least them trying to make him scary.
They tried to make him menacing. Nick mentioned this to me offline a couple days ago. That the whole thing devolves into like member berries. Like, remember this line? Remember that line? Remember this? Remember that? Remember? And it's just like, stop.
Remember your pre-order? Remember your pre-order for this giant beach ball? Here it is.
And it became clogged with them to the point where it was like there's more references than there needs to be. Just a few of them, and then actually following through with them would have been better. But again, we're being very nitpicky. And, someone mentioned in the chat that we were being a little too critical. In a lot of ways, we are being a little too critical because I did actually enjoy the experience of watching the show. I don't know if I would have enjoyed the experience if I hadn't been watching it with a group, but I did enjoy the experience.
See, I would disagree with that myself. Like, I thought that it was not a fun watch. I think it was less entertaining. Like, I posed this question to Christian. Would you rather rewatch this, or would you rather watch, like, one of the Transformers movies?
The Bay movies, particularly.
The Bay movies.
Ooh, don't put that on me. That's terrible.
Well, both
That's
Christian
mean.
and I said we would rather watch the Bay movies.
And I'm the same way. I think that I would. And so I ended up, because I never made it through Cyberverse, and so I actually was watching some of that afterwards, and that's a lot, like, more fun to watch. Like, yes. I enjoyed that a lot more. Like, after watching this show and then watching a bunch of that, I was like, oh, like, I should be watching this instead. And, their figures actually transform, and, like, there's, a lot of plot, and they don't talk as slow, and...
Cyberverse is actually very good.
I love Cyberverse. If you want to do a fun show with Transformers characters with nods to the old stuff and new takes on stuff and new characters and just new stuff and that nice blend with member berries and new concepts, or just like random call outs to like stuff that most you bought a toy, cool. Get out of here, Paul. Cyberverse is the way to do it. Cyberverse is the way to do it. I haven't found that Prowl, by the way, Paul. It's the only one I haven't found from that set.
Really?
Yeah, I've seen a couple Starscreams and the one Soundwave that I picked up, but they look great.
I was just giving visual aid to what you were saying.
Okay, yeah. Cyberverse is fun. It's fun. The toys are great. Kids like it. It's not like so dark and gritty and blah blah blah. Let's be mad at each other. It's a good Transformers series, and I miss it. I'm gonna miss it.
And the designs are good too. I think the character designs are great. The style is cool.
Cyberverse is a great product. Like, overall, I've actually really enjoyed it. Like, a lot of the toys were really poop. But the later toys, the deluxes and some of the ultras are really good toys, and there's a good series. So I think it's a good product overall.
If a kid wants a Prowl or a Bumble or a Starscream or a Megatron or a Shockwave or whoever, they can find some flavor of that character with Cyberverse. With Siege, War for Cybertron, whatever series we're on, Earthrise stuff. Hey, Mom, I want... Okay, you'll find a Red Alert. That's a bad example. Hey, Mom, I want Bumblebee. Where's your Siege Bumblebee? Or your Earthrise Bumblebee? What kid is going to be able to go into the store and, on a whim, a parent, find that Bumblebee for that kid? You're not. You might find a Prime. You might. You'll find a Red Alert. You'll find a... I don't know. Who's shelf warming where you guys are at?
None of them. I mean, they all
Leader Shockwave. Leader Shockwave still.
You're definitely not going to get a Bug Bite in the store.
No.
That's a bummer. He was a fun bad guy.
It's weird that they chose to put like some of the main awesome characters as exclusives.
Yeah.
So they're like, why would you make the Bumblebee not in every store possible?
Because they're going to put him in a more widespread deco later with the 86 line or something? I don't know. They're going to reuse that tooling as it is. He's in that orangey movie color. They're gonna give him that sunshine yellow color at some point,
That's what I figured too. I figured we'll get the nice yellow, and I like that better.
It's all a trick. Buy these toys now, buy them again. We've known this trick. We've been doing this stuff. It's nothing new.
Around this block.
But we always get duped by it. The was it the FOMO? The FOMO gets us.
Yeah.
I don't think I would buy another release.
I felt like this show, to me, feels like the DC movies. Like, where it's like, let's just make everything super gritty and dark and all that. Like, it doesn't necessarily need to be. I felt like that was kind of what this was.
What has that FJ? Oops. What has that FJ DeSanto guy done prior to this? Does anyone know?
I don't.
This can't be his like first rodeo, right?
I don't think it is.
When they introduced him at one of the Fan Friday things, they listed his credits, but they were all forgettable. And if it's anything, it's nothing that appeals to me. I'm not trying to disparage his work prior to this. I'm just disparaging this.
Yeah, I don't know. I just wondered if he had done anything notable to reference, but for another day, I suppose.
And I would love to see that Alita in an all pinky pink, Gen 1 pinky pink Echo.
Yeah, I just wonder if they'll reprint her again because, this is the third of this mold we've already gotten. So I'm just curious if they'll think it's profitable to recolor,
The first of that chest, though.
It's the first of this chest. That is true.
I want that exact mold in pink. Like the Search for Alpha Trion.
Yeah.
So FJ DeSanto's #1 credit is being a producer on The Spirit. In
the movie The Spirit?
The movie The Spirit.
From like 2008.
Yes. That is his top credit.
Okay. Don't know it. All I know is that Toy Fair, the year that they were kind of revealing some of this stuff, it was last year. Like, he would not stop talking. He was on stage, like, talking about the franchise, and it went on, like, a few minutes too long. But so he's very passionate, though. Very passionate about this. And I think some of the gripes we have, probably the buck stops with him, since he's kind of the lead dude in charge. So, I don't know.
I'll tell you, I mean, the gripes I have, they stop with me because I'm an old, bitter man, and I want member berries that feel good and taste right. Maybe I said that wrong. Taste right, feel good? Whatever. Anyway. Yeah. But I'm never going to be 6 again unless we're all like a shared experience and future's already happened, past already happening at the same time, and then I'm you guys and you are me, and I am going to be 6 again, just not now or already now, but on some other plane. Anyway. I like Transformers.
I think the thing that's hard is that we're getting so many member berries from all these franchises we loved as kids, and other things are doing it better. Like The Mandalorian just dropped not that long ago, right? And you watch that and you're like, oh my god, this is amazing, But yeah, then you compare it to this. You're like, I just got done watching that like last week or a couple weeks ago or whatever. And then I watched Transformers, and I'm like, oh, this is not as good. So like that, I think that's the thing that's tough is that some other properties have done it better.
Well, Star Wars is hard to compare to because it's always been essentially the same canon universe. The whole story exists in one contained thing. There's plenty of outliers, I know, but it's nothing like Transformers where there is no actual canon. It's just a loose outline
It's a framework.
That gets applied in different ways, which is cool and also unique, but it is frustrating if you're not used to it. Even if you are used to it, it's still frustrating.
It can have issues for sure.
Yeah, you mentioned The Mandalorian, and there's all these MCU has also got a pretty cohesive storytelling unit going on. All that stuff's under Disney. What would Disney do with the Transformer franchise? I don't know. I don't know if I'm even willing to think about that, but it might happen someday. And if it did, would that be what we need?
I will mention, though, Star Wars, Zaldron mentioned it about JJ and the Skywalker or whatever, Last Skywalker or whatever it is. Rise of Skywalker. What's the last one called?
Revenge of the Skywalkers.
The last one.
And the Empire of Skywalker.
That did not, was not as great. So
no, it wasn't.
As many,
in 10 years,
they've had their own missteps.
Sure, they have.
Once
in 10 years,
watched...
no one will care. It's gonna be the Bible again, and the gripes will be forgotten. There'll be like a note on a Wikipedia page, and we've all have moved on, and they'll be like, "Man, Rey really beat the crap out of the Emperor. That was awesome." That's just the way it's gonna be. You saw it happen with the prequels.
The same thing
Yeah.
happened with the prequels. Kids that are, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say kids. People that we know that are under 30 that grew up with the prequels were their intro to Star Wars. They like, okay, boomer at me because I'm like, I thought the prequels were trash.
Yeah.
And that's a valid, thing that the valid opinion of theirs. If I'm an old man, then I'm an old man. And if my opinion, I mean, there was some goofy shit in Return of the Jedi. Oh man, but I love that movie.
Me too.
And I forgive everything in it. So
Well, and that's
It
what I
blew my
wonder
mind
if,
when I heard people didn't like it. I was
exactly.
like, oh yeah, you're right. That doesn't make sense, but I don't care. So that's like the Bay movies. So.
But that's
Sorry,
what I
you-
wonder on this show is like not the people like say Peter, your kid who has seen like all the Transformers media, right? But like say random Joe that was like, oh, what's new on Netflix and watches it, or like some kid or whatever that's watching it. Maybe they will be much more forgiving than we are because they don't care that some of the stuff doesn't make sense or whatever. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I think one of the
this is
I was just going to say, I think one of the big differences is that with Star Wars, in 10 or so years, those movies will be classic. With this, in 10 or so years, this will be forgotten. I don't think anyone's going to talk about this as, like, the classic animation of the series. Like, I think G1's going to stick around, and Beast Wars is going to stick around, and the IDW comics are going to stick around as all possible canons and things that people want to celebrate 10-year anniversaries of. I just don't see these 6-episode series as being one of those things that gets that kind of celebration. Not particularly because they're bad, but probably because they're short, limited on Netflix, and just kind of a limited storytelling structure.
But that's one of the things that Paul hit on. Like you're saying, Star Wars is this huge universe, and everything has to fit together and be cohesive and all that, right? Whereas Transformers, there's always a constant reboot, and so that's kind of a good or a bad thing that you can say, oh, well, you don't like this? Okay, well, Cyberverse is on there too. Prime is on Netflix right now as well. Rescue Bots is on, like you can watch 5 other Transformer shows, and they're all different. So.
limited cast of characters, limited episodes, member berries, sharp storytelling, and no toy to support it. She-Ra. The Princess of Power cartoon on Netflix is one of the most badass things I have seen in the last 5 years. And this is not She-Ra. I don't know. If you haven't seen it, it's worth a watch. It's fantastic. It has all your little member berries. It has all your little notes. Oh, wait, they mentioned this. And they mentioned, yeah. But there's only like 10 characters, and you get emotionally invested in the characters. The storytelling is sharp, super sharp, really crisp, a lot of fun, great characterization, fantastic voice acting. And, better than this. Much better than this. Watch it.
I think
wonder
the
if
toys
that's...
will survive. I think from a storytelling standpoint,
of course.
forgotten, but the toys will definitely thrive in the future because these are kind of some of the best.
Oh, yeah. I'm not arguing that the toys aren't good. I'm just saying that the availability of the toys isn't being done any favors by this show. Like, kids that want the toys based on what they're seeing on the show aren't going to be able to get those toys. And yeah, I guess my point with the She-Ra thing is that it's a cartoon that you can't go out and get a toy for. There were a couple of dolls, but it wasn't like an all-inclusive series and all clearanced out and it's gone. But, yeah.
But that's what I wonder if that, with She-Ra, that, like, they didn't have as many limitations, potentially. I mean, we don't know what kind of limitations that Hasbro put on this show in order to fit it in. So that's the thing is like, I mean, there's the same thing with More Than Meets the Eye, which the book club covers and whatnot, is that James Roberts was able to kind of do his own thing with that, and he didn't have, like, when they did put some of the stipulations and stuff on it, it was not as great. But when he was able to do his own thing and just go on or whatever. And so that's what I wonder with this is, I mean, we don't know. I mean, from what we've heard with, the IDW writers and artists, that usually they're pretty free. Like Hasbro's usually pretty open with what they allow them to do. But for the most part, like, you don't know with this show. They could have stipulated and said, this has to be this way, this has to be that way. You have to do it on this budget and whatever.
and I can see that with the comic book. They have said the writers and the editors and whatnot have said that they've free reign for the most part when they had to tie it in with a toy like Thrilling 30 or whatever. They have to look like this or have these certain beats or whatever. And we know that for Generation 1... Where'd everyone go?
I don't know what happened.
That was crazy. They would say, like, you need Blowtorch, Barbecue, Gung Ho, Roadblock, and Footloose. You need to feature the Snowcat vehicle somehow, and the Manta Glider, and Destro. And go, whatever that means. And so the writers would have to, like, mold the episode to fit all these disparate characters or themes. I'm talking G.I. Joe, but okay, so we need you to put, I don't know, Prowl, Blue Streak, Trailbreaker, Thundercracker, Starscream, and Soundwave. Put them all in an episode and have them do whatever. So they would put like these mandates for which toys needed to appear per episode and a general like this, you need to push these. But they would let them do whatever with the episode, which is why it was important for the story editors to do what they did. But we don't know if they had those constraints it's only 6 episodes, and they only pushed 7 Earthrise toys.
I was going to say that. Like, I think that's kind of a positive, the fact that they didn't have to cram in all the Earthrise toys, because we would have gotten fatigued, right? We would have gotten really fatigued with name-dropping characters that didn't do very much, because they would have had to add like an extra 25 characters to fit in everything that they skipped.
I feel
that
like
would have been intense.
They totally did do that, though. They're like, Scorponok, gotta do it. Gotta put it in. Make sure he's in an episode or something. Make sure they put this quintessence. Everything we listed earlier was definitely on the docket of you must include this.
They had big parts, they just didn't matter.
Yeah, but I almost think that's worse. That they didn't. The fact that they didn't matter is what sucks. I mean, being put in at least a cardboard box when you're writing or doing something creative can be helpful because it stops you from going bonkers. And that's why some of those, like that formula you just spoke of, Peter, I think that's why some of the greatest G1 cartoon episodes even happened, is because of the constraints that, like, they put them in, and then the writers are like, well, okay, that's fine, but let's see how crazy we can get within those bounds. And we got some awesome stories.
We did.
And this was definitely done in a... They were in, I believe, I mean, I wasn't in the writer's room, I believe they were in a box for pretty much the whole series, and it was probably less of cardboard and more like a full-on built room, and they couldn't do a lot, and they were, instead of being able to really go nuts, they were just too clamped down on what they could do, and had no, like, they had to get from point A to B, and put all these ingredients in, but, like, there wasn't much to do between A and B. Like
Seriously,
the most creative thing they thought of was let's put this ship halfway through a space bridge. That's cool. Why? I don't know. Let's go.
The whole plot, like the whole like what happened in the series was Megatron goes into space. Oh, they're on Earth.
Yeah. I would say that when that Nemesis came out of the sky, which makes no sense. If you're going to launch something, it comes from the ground. But it still looked really, really cool, and I liked it.
Oh, it got me right in my memory.
They didn't build it. They summoned it. They summoned it from the heavens. That's how I took it. I didn't even think they built it. I thought they just sacrificed it.
No, Megatron said that they built it, so...
They summoned it from
They had
the
to
sky
sacrifice some
Sky Hell.
Decepticons for that thing.
Right. They sacrificed them to Unicron or something. I don't know.
Maybe we could let's find one of the writers and get them on the show.
I'm sure they probably can't talk about it, but
shake that member berry tree.
They would go watch this episode and be like, I don't think it's a good idea to show up on your show.
Where's the studio? What time do you need us to be there?
Yeah,
it would be cool. So what about Unicron? I want to talk about Unicron.
What about Unicron? You will be punished. The end.
Yeah, but the fact that they showed him at all was like kind of shocking. I mean, unfortunately, they showed all these crazy things in the trailer like a few days before, and I was like that trailer was like, holy shit, all this stuff's gonna be in this show. And I mean, it was there, but it was the same amount of footage that was in the trailer. It was so bummery.
What if the next spoiler figure is Unicron?
That would be
like
expensive.
A refrigerator box standing in Walmart with spoiler written on it.
It's in the Armada. I'm sorry, the Energon recolor, just the black with the veins.
Well, I guess I pose a question. Do you think that's as much Unicron as we're gonna get?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Galvatron will probably show up and do the grid time travel. I guess that's how he time travels now, is using the grid build Galvatron animation. I don't know, whatever. It doesn't matter. It's neat to see grids. I like grids. Anyway, he'll show up and he'll be like, I made the golden disc. Totally. Doesn't matter. Plot doesn't matter. Voyager space probe doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Buy my toy. Oh, you missed the window? That was 2 years ago? Yeah, too bad. Whatever. Thanks, Hasbro. Way to encourage kids to buy the things that they're showing on the shows now.
I don't think he's coming back, but that's just me. Like, I think Scorponok, Galvatron, Unicron, I think they're all spent. I think they've used their coins. They have quit.
Man,
we may actually catch up to where, like, the toys are actually on the shelves for the next, wave of the trilogy.
If it comes this fast again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it comes out in another 5 or 6 months, which I hope so. Because I actually do, like, one thing I wanted to say positive for this season is that I actually do want to see the next season. Like, I don't want to wait to know what happens next, because I want to see what happens to the very few little cliffhanger type of things. I want to know what happens next. From the end of Siege, which was a very calm, like, satisfying ending, it was like, okay, this is a good breaking point. Let's walk away now. This was not as clean of a breaking point, and I want to know what happens next.
What were the main cliffhangers? Because I don't remember.
They crashed on Earth and Dinobot is sitting there.
But then also everything on Cybertron. Like, I really don't know what's going on there right now. Like, I don't know what
the writers know what's going on.
I don't know what season 3 Cybertron's gonna look like. Is Alita still alive? Let Alita still be alive. I don't want her to blow up. It would make me sad. See, I'm invested. Almost invested.
I'm interested in what happens to Alita and her crew.
Yep.
The Ark crew and my worry is that they're gonna knock out everyone on the Ark and the Nemesis. They're all gonna be unconscious, whatever. Done. And it's gonna be 15 Dinobot recolors running around, all with different voices that are all just like, hey, my name's Dinobot and I like being a dinosaur, or something stupid. And they're gonna transform off camera and like stroll onto the camera like, I'm a robot now. One more thing. How come every transformation sound, this is me being an old ass nitpicky guy, every transformation sound is the transform up sound. There's no what the hell is that? Producers, if you are listening, get on that shit because it's annoying.
Yeah, and when they transform quick because they're doing something that goes faster.
Bingo. There should be different sounds. There's different sounds for different size bots. There's different sounds whether you're going up into robot mode or down into your alt mode. Do it.
Now I don't want to rewatch it now because now I know that's a problem and I didn't notice the first time.
It's been a problem since Siege, and I've been grumping about it around the house since Siege. They're all like, okay, that's cool. Nuts.
So my question is did you enjoy this more than Siege, or like, did you like Earthrise better than Siege, or She's better than Earthrise?
I like this better.
I think I liked Siege better. More stuff happened in Siege that I cared about. There was more characterization, more things happened to individual characters. It wasn't 2 episodes of fighting Scorponok, an episode of Prime yelling at Skylynx, and Skylynx yelling at Prime, and Bumblebee wanting to give everyone a hug at the end. And, I believe in you. Yeah, it's great, Bumblebee. You're a team player now. Welcome to the Autobots. It took you 2 series to decide that Bumblebee was an Autobot. Good job, writers. Galvatron was a no-show. Unicron was a no-show. Skylynx was a nothing burger. Scorponok was lame. The Quintessons were dumb. Or the Quintesson, rather, was dumb. The mercenaries were neat. They got 4 seconds of screen time. Neat.
I think Siege was. I think I maybe liked this more, but only because I'd seen Siege. I think Siege was a more cohesive story.
It was. It was a very slowly told story, though. Because in the rewatch I did the week before, like, if I had not been watching that with a friend, I probably would have gone to Nappy World. Like, I would have gone to sleep. It was dull, but I was watching it with a friend, so it was engaging, so I could talk to them about it, and that was good, right? But alone, I couldn't have done it. I think I could watch this again, because it's just like, you know, kind of, I guess like kind of like a sugar high of things being thrown at you and references and those berries you keep talking about, Peter. I feel like with the speed of everything being thrown at me, I could watch it again. I would probably be more critical and more jaded and more grumpy. But I feel like I would have an easier time watching it again. We'll find out when I rewatch it before Kingdom. I just completely pass out on the floor and go, oh.
I think I'll probably try to watch when it's all done. I will probably try to do a watch of the whole thing. How long would that take? Like 7 hours?
About 7 hours, 7.5.
It's a full work day. I'm gonna have to do start a Patreon for that, like a marathon thing. But I'll see. I'll wait till it's all done before I like really do the full court press on whether it was good or bad. But it's not. I wouldn't say it was a huge improvement over Siege. That's hard to say. So. What about you, Lucas?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was similar. I don't know. Like, now that I'm sitting on it, it's hard to say. Like, I think they're both pretty similar.
Don't let my negative attitude toward the whole thing sway you. Don't let anyone's negative attitude toward the whole thing sway you. I know I'm being extra bitter tonight, but I'm extra bitter about this show. I'm extra bitter about the current IDW comics. The toys are great. The media is all bad right now. Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it was necessarily bad. I think that it was just that it could have been better. I think so it's kind of like just middle. It's there.
I think a lot of it's going to hinge on how it treats someone who doesn't know any of the references. Last night in book club, we talked about that a little bit, and most people in book club are saying, well, I think what's going to happen is if you don't know the references, you're mostly going to ignore them. Like, if you don't know Scorponok is supposed to be a smart, tactical, leadership type character, it's not going to bother you that he's a giant monster from the family of Scorponoks, and baby Scorponok and mama Scorponok got killed in the fire. You're not going to worry about that, right? You're not going to worry about the fact that Galvatron is just like a quick name drop. He's some sort of time traveler, man. Wait, did he imply he was Megatron? Never even really say that out loud, right? So I think it's really going to hinge on how the people who don't know those references, they don't know that Galvatron is Megatron. They don't know what that Unicron voice is. They don't know Scorponok. I think it's really going to hinge on what they think of it, which I have no idea. Because I'm going in all jaded, knowing all these references and knowing all this stuff, so I can be both excited and disappointed by the references. Peter, you really winced when I mentioned the Scorponok family.
I did. There were kids at my. I'm a military brat, so I was moving all over as a kid. There were kids at my schools when I was moving around as a kid or whatever that never pronounced Scorponok. They always called him Scorponox.
Oh.
And it frustrates me. And then you see it on the boards and on Facebook and stuff. Someone will spell it like Skoripinox or whatever. It's like, Scorpion, what? No. Did you never look at a comic? Did you never look at the package? Did you never look at a poster? Did you never listen to the cartoon? Why? Why would Scorpionox be the way you come out with this frickin' toy? And in my brain, they said that I am the last of the great Scorpionoks, or whatever they said in the cartoon, to satisfy the kids who said it wrong in 1987 and 1988, so that they could always go back, well, they said it like that on the War for Cybertron thing. I'm right, and you're a big nerd. And I am. But, Arg, don't validate incorrectness. You're wrong. You want to be wrong? Be wrong. That's wrong.
So we were talking about it last night, and Daddy Scorponok is Green Scorponok, and Black Zarek will be Mama Scorponok, and Interchat Scorponok can be one of the child Scorponoks. My little Iron Factory Scorponok can be Baby Scorponok. We're ready for this. Scorponok family is ready to go.
Are you, now, Anna, are you just doing this to justify the multiple Scorponoks that you have?
No, I think it's hilarious that there was an implication of a Scorponok family, and I'm very excited for a whole planet of scorpion people. I love scorpions.
Isn't his family the Titan Returns reissues also coming out at Walmart here pretty soon?
Yes.
That's what he means, not Scorponok family, man.
No,
the headmasters.
He's the last of the Scorponoks.
Oh, you can't say that word here.
There's Henry Scorponok and Lucy Scorponok, and I don't even know. Just all the Scorponoks.
It's gonna be beautiful. All right,
there
so
was a kid that said Optimus Prime, like, okay, Optimus Prime, and like, just come on, guy, stop. So, yeah, sorry.
Earlier in the chat, Jay mentioned something that got to me that really bothered me is that we established that they landed probably in prehistoric times, right? Because there was a dinosaur just hanging out who is Dinobot. And that's implying that we're probably going to have a story that takes place when those dinosaurs are running around with all the, animal characters, with the Beast Wars crew, right? And that's when Beast Wars took place and blah, blah, blah. That's fine. Except we had all these Earth mode toys produced of all the characters. Like, Prime should turn into Earth mode Prime. And Ironhide should turn to Earth mode Ironhide. Why would they scan a freaking T-Rex and be like, oh, I'm a truck now? That
I'm a big old van.
So
Making
that
sense
is
is
going to
out
be an
the
issue.
window.
And
They'll
it's
probably
kind of a bummer.
first episode will be like scanning all the beasts, and then crazy Galvatron's going to come with this grid time machine and send him into future Earth. They'll be like, oh, well, these are cooler than rope. They'll take the Beast Wars guys with them, and
remember
by
how they
episode
did it
3.
in Cybertron? In Cybertron, they like projected the alt modes on the sky, and they're like, just pick one. Just one of these. Just pick one of these. And like, oh, I want this one. I want this one. I want that one. That's what they're gonna do. Galvatron's gonna show up with a catalog. He's like, which one do you want? Do you want to be the van? You can be the van. You can be the Lancia Stratos Turbo. Whatever. You can be a Lamborghini. Boop.
Look at this website, Hasbro Pulse, and pick the one you want to look like.
And then RC and Bumblebee are just like, we don't need alt modes. We're better than those.
Never transforming.
Welcome to Kingdom, where the alt modes don't matter. Because they don't transform anyways.
Yeah.
Boo.
Alright, there you go. Well, I guess all of us bitter old Transformer fans crapping on the show here.
Hey, I had a fun time watching it. Like, it was an enjoyable experience.
It's still worth watching.
Yeah, it was fun.
So.
I had to see my toys yell at each other and punch each other and stuff. I had to see a depiction in a cartoon of a really, really fallible Optimus Prime. That was something that was kind of, different for us. If you're only watching the cartoons, often Optimus Prime is this, nearly perfect father figure god man, and he isn't here. He's a leader who really messed up. And it's kind of cool to watch.
Optimus has major flaws, and Megatron is sympathetic, and that's a nice change. And I'm happy that we have a cartoon, in whatever form it is. I'll be frustrated at it, but I'm still super grateful because Transformers are my favorite thing. And yeah, let's see more.
Yeah, I feel the same. See, we're not entirely negative. We lead with the negatives.
Focus on them.
For an hour. So, tomorrow night, Anna, do you know, who are we doing? Do we know?
Did we decide?
I don't know.
It kind of sounded like we were talking about Cyclonus, but...
yeah. Someone in the chat was mentioning how good Cyclonus was, so maybe we'll have to do that.
Oh,
Said it's pretty much a masterpiece.
It's so beautiful.
Rob's favorite words.
Rate it, Rob. I'll fight you on this one. This one is
Boy.
it's the. I should have spoiled tomorrow night, but I may or may not like this Cyclonus. I may have taken my very serviceable Magic Square wand and just been like, oh well, crap, and just threw it into the sell pile the moment I played with this thing. Possibly.
Pretty amazing. Yeah, so check it out tomorrow night, live at 9:30 Eastern, 8:30 Central on the tftalk.net Facebook page. We'll be streaming our thoughts on Cyclonus, it looks like.
Sure.
And then on Wednesday, I think, are we doing an oof?
Oof! My wallet!
So, doing a post-Christmas oof here, so...
That's right.
So,
That's right. It's going to be the first oof of the new year. How oofing is 2021 going to be?
I haven't told you all my oofs from 2020 yet.
uh-oh.
Hey, you're always welcome.
I'll catch up.
Yeah, mine would be 2020 oofs too. There have been no 2021 oofs yet. It's 4 days.
I mean, that's pretty
it's-
good right
it's
there.
right.
You've
It's post
went,
Christmas.
you've went an entire year so far and not bought anything new, so...
I haven't bought any new toys this year. That's what I got to tell my husband later. I'll be like, hey, I haven't bought any toys this whole year.
There you go.
I certainly have, but distribution's good where I am. So,
Yeah.
dems to breaks. Oh, what's that?
I got
Yeah,
a
what is
record. It was part of my Christmas haul, but it didn't arrive until today. I got the G.I. Joe
that?
score.
Ooh.
It's the background music. I have rips of these, and I listen to them all the time. But yeah, I won't be on Oof, but I got this and it's fun. You should go get it.
That's cool.
Oof.
It's a good oof.
If I had a record player.
You should get a record player. Paul, buy everyone a record player.
Okay. Jeez.
There you go. All right. Well, thank you guys for being on the show tonight. Give us your honest thoughts on the show, the Transformers show. So thank you to everyone in the chat. Catherine, Zaldron, Jay, Rabbi Horowitz, Ron. What else did I miss? Did I miss anyone else? I don't know. If I missed anyone, I apologize. Anyway, thank you guys, and we will see you next week.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. See you later.